I'll watch this behind the scenes stuff, and I'll be like, Chris, take a breath and just shut your mouth for 2 seconds. But I can't. It's a compulsion. And then she laughs every time. It's so nice. It's so nice.
I'm so privileged to be the audience to your nonstop talking.
Aww. I've got one really long chest hair. I think we've established that. She's always on the hunt for it. Gross. There we go. That's how we get pumped up. Rocky, and then the Muppets.
I know, I just came down here because I was like, I hear the Muppets.
I think there's great chemistry between Bryce and Chris, but I think it's evolved to a point that now they can basically find a new way of relating to each other, which has just as much comedy as it does drama.
Chris was saying, let's just like feel it out, like
Let
be
it happen.
present.
Let it happen in the moment instead of predetermining it.
Yeah.
And she said, great, but she was faking it and she'd already predetermined exactly.
I know what I'm gonna do.
3, 2, 1, action!
For this movie, I remember being so excited that we were going to be doing another movie, but I was also like, what is it going to be?
I'm just reading the new pages for the ending of the movie, and it's awesome. It's awesome.
And reading the script, you know, I was just worried the whole time that I was going to die. Seriously, the whole time I was like, oh gosh, she's going to die. Okay, she survived that time. All right. Oh no, she's going to die.
Oh my gosh. Someone dies.
Bryce always wants to be so good at everything that she does, and you can tell. I mean, every take is getting better and better and better with her, you know? And you can ask her anything. You can ask Bryce absolutely everything, and she will give it to you.
What up, J.A.? Have you met J.A.?
And Chris all the time will give you new ideas, and from take to take, he will change everything, which I love.
So I'll do the thing where my foot gets touched by lava, and that's what motivates me to get the roll going.
Yeah, that's great.
And then maybe even a second time into the log, and it's like, go, like, and I mean, it's like, you got 10 seconds till you burn to death.
Yeah.
It's just something kind of natural, like
Supernatural, kind of like this.
like this.
Just like that. It's been so fun for us as, I was gonna say as kids, but we're not kids, but we feel like kids when we're on this movie set because we are getting to experience this thing that we admired when we were kids.
With Chris Pratt, I'd say like 6 really funny things right now.
And you haven't experienced fun until you've acted opposite Chris Pratt in a Jurassic movie.
It's a dinosaur.
In the book Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton figured out how to bring dinosaurs back to life in the 20th century, and he did it through science. And that's what really attracted me to the Jurassic Park movies. At the time, it was only one movie, but I wanted to do it in the correct way. And I didn't want to make a Godzilla movie. I wanted this to be a movie that was based on quantifiable science.
I remember very well the first time I saw Jurassic Park. I think it's the first time I was in front of a movie and I was aware that I was watching movie history. I knew that from that moment on, everything would be possible to put on the big screen, no matter how crazy that would be, in a realistic way.
So what do we do now?
When we were shooting Jurassic World, the fun thing to do on set was to talk about how this story could evolve.
This movie is not actually a sequel, it's part of a trilogy, so it's designed to be number 2 in the story of all 3 movies.
Action!
We knew you were only going to get to be on an island with a theme park once, because you're going to you're going to break everything, you're going to destroy everything that it was. And so what would be the result of that? What would be the next step beyond it? In the original book of Jurassic Park, they talk about how it was a volcanic island, and so we zeroed in on this as being an opportunity.
We're literally blowing up the island so that we won't go back to the island. We needed to move on. We needed to expand, and that's what we're doing in this film.
I love how the film opens a grand spectacle and then becomes this kind of claustrophobic experiment in terror.
We wanted J.A. Bayona to direct this movie because he lives in a world of childhood nightmares.
If you look at the movies that he's done, if you look at The Impossible, if you look at Monster Calls, even The Orphanage, they're all very suspenseful, on the edge of your seat kind of filmmaking.
Okay.
Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park was based upon real scientific theories. So these stories have to be grounded. You need to do them right. They need to feel 100% real.
He has a need to make the audience feel what he's feeling. So that's why Jay's movies always keep mixing genres. Nothing is black or white, and the complexity of the human beings is the interesting part of the story.
Yes. Or actually, yes. It's good to have a film professor as your director. J.A. shared with me that he was a film professor and he taught a class on Jurassic Park. There's something very, very poetic and cosmic about that.
Every camera movement for me should be designed very specifically because for me that's the way I tell the story.
With J.A., it's not so much what is there, but what might be around the corner.
There's nothing in there. The tail.
Yeah.
Go back.
Jay's ambition was to really do something very unique, something that stands out by itself as a piece of beautiful filmmaking, but at the same time integrates in the story.
I did 3 movies in Europe, so I was able to show people this is what I do. And I was so fortunate that some of the people responsible of Fallen Kingdom saw those movies and thought I was the right guy to do the next one. And of course, I always wanted to work with Steven Spielberg.
They showed me the cut, and I saw it by myself, and I thought J.A. just knocked it out of the ballpark.
And for me, it was very special because I grew up watching these movies, and having Steven's approval was something very special.
And here we go, starting the Hawaii portion.
I was personally really excited to go back to Hawaii because being in the jungle, running from dinosaurs, that just feels like a Jurassic movie to me.
I love Hawaii. I love the people. I love the culture. I love the island. I've got every friend I know trying to book their 2 days to visit me. Watch this. I just nailed that so hard. The question is, are we going again?
Going again?
That means somebody failed. I don't want to say who, but I'm the only one in this scene. So, it was me.
We shot in Kualoa Ranch, which is famous for seeing the Gallimimus running. That scene is iconic.
This is what we've been looking at all day long. A nice view from the office. We're pretty lucky.
Yeah, we are.
Feels nice to be here.
It's awesome.
It's a very playful universe. You come here, and we felt that we suddenly were in the middle of the Jurassic Park.
It really gives us the feel, the look, the gigantic scope for this movie, which takes place in all of the locations we've been on before.
Jurassic World is Hawaii. I mean, we see the jungles here. They're Jurassic jungles.
When you want jungle, this is the place to come. It's where we came last time. We're going to be almost in exactly the same place, but we'll be using it for something completely different.
There is a great scene when Owen is laid out unconscious in the jungle.
He's waking up, and as the lava's coming towards him, and it's engulfing the set.
So we're going to do full fire here, fire bars, and then we're going to have some nitrocellulose slowly burning towards the camera. It's going to look like lava going towards camera.
This is kind of stuff you do when you're a kid in the woods when no one's watching. And now the whole world's watching.
It's really beautiful, green. We're in Hawaii. What can go wrong?
What could go wrong?
We're doing a pretty insane action sequence in the center of the film that starts at the bottom of the volcano inside in the bunker.
We enter into the bunker in Hawaii, and once we are in the bunker, we are in London. London, yeah.
Yeah. We're just so
That's
funny.
what the movie.
I know, it's crazy.
Lava! Lava!
We are shooting a sequence where a baryonyx is chasing us. He has us in his sights, and there's lava everywhere.
Lava is basically a zeolite granules, which are an absorbent granule. It's the same as cat litter. It falls into the grate, especially there's water in these tanks underneath, and that extinguishes it as soon as it hits the water.
Things are heating up. It's getting a whole lot hotter. And action! Five!
We wanted to see a dinosaur in a box, and the people have to get out of the box before the dinosaur eats them. We wanted to really try and open it up and bring in a new set of real dinosaurs, and we have a baryonyx in this movie.
We have a full-scale baryonyx head that we're going to have on set and use that to perform with our actors on the day.
It's days like these when a dinosaur attacks. You're just like, should have stayed home.
I told Franklin to get the chair, and there was this little, like, obstacle he had to deal with.
This is when Franklin becomes a man.
Franklin and Claire, we get out of the hatch, and we narrowly escape the baryonyx.
And this is all lava. It's lava here, lava there, it's all on fire.
What a cool job this is.
And then we'll see Owen running and going like, run! And behind him is like a whole herd of dinosaurs. So we're running down the hill.
And they clocked it yesterday, and I run, granted this is downhill, 75 miles an hour. Pretty cool.
You have lava bomb explosions. This scene here is they're finished running down the hill. They run for safety, so they go behind the log. The dinosaurs run, they break the log in pieces.
And it seems absolutely hopeless until they realize that they can get into the gyrosphere.
What?
I didn't pee before I got strapped in.
Okay.
Now I really didn't pee.
You can also do him in the
I didn't hear that, and I'm not gonna let him pee. I'll get him a water bottle in about 15 minutes.
They now have a gyrosphere rolling down a hill.
The gyrosphere scene was one of the biggest challenges of the movie. That you have one scene that has been shot in different continents. We have a first section in the island, but then the second half in UK at Pinewood.
Shooting piece by piece and stitching this thing together, it's like putting together a 1,000-piece puzzle. It feels really exciting.
We're in the gyrosphere right now, and we're about to roll off the cliff. And so they've built a roller coaster.
What the hell? It's so steep.
We're trying to get a zero-G moment of when the gyrosphere goes over the cliff.
In a roller coaster, there's like a buildup before the big drop. And this is just the worst part of the roller coaster.
Yeah, it's just the drop.
Oh my God.
To take Bryce and Justice and put them in 35 feet in the air and then have them go and be dropped down. It's the only way that you're going to get that performance on their faces.
We had to feel the claustrophobia of what was to be into the gyrosphere as the gyrosphere is sinking.
I got to learn how to scuba dive the other day. There's this really huge tank, I think it's 30 feet deep.
This is crazy.
One thing that I love in all the Jurassic Park films is a sequence of peril that really has nothing to do with dinosaurs. Once they get into that gyrosphere and they're sinking underwater, there's no dinosaur threat. They're just in serious danger.
Ah! I want to go home!
It's a terrifying scene to not only see, but to act in, because we actually had to do that.
18, 19, 20.
It's just one big giant ride for us to experience, and it's all really fun, and you're gonna shoot it, and then that is what you see on the screen.
Hey, what's up?
We're on the Richard Attenborough stage.
Yeah, so we snuck underneath the truck.
We're on a boat,
Yep.
but not in real life. We're pretending.
Yep.
Smells my oatmeal.
What the hell are you doing?
It's cut. We'll go back to work. Go again right away.
We need to get on that boat!
Hold on! Oh my God, you guys are alive!
There was, for me, one scene that was the heart of the story, which was the surgery on Blue.
Steady pressure. Okay.
Owen is not that sure to go back to the island, even though he had a relationship with Blue. But in that scene, you can tell that there's a change in those characters.
Blue has become a real character in this series. In the first movie, John Hammond liked to be around every birth, every hatching, because he wanted the animal to imprint on him. In this case, I think we have the audience has imprinted on Blue, which allows Blue to become a major, major character that we really care about.
It was really helpful to have an animatronic version of Blue this time around, and to have a team of puppeteers beneath her was unlike anything we did in the first movie with Blue, because that was all animated.
I mean, that's a massive range of motion that you've got. I'm not
The
saying-
work with the animatronic has been for us one of the most exciting moments in the film. What Neil did with the design and the mechanics of these animals was amazing.
This kind of like shaking that that was very effective.
The actors hadn't really seen Blue in a full glory. And so they walked onto the truck that Blue is on, and there's no one in sight. There's just a dinosaur lying on the table, breathing and shivering.
Wow, that's really good.
And they just completely engaged with it.
I like actually that freaked out like a all right, it's a little too real for me. I'm good.
I couldn't help but freak out the entire time. Like it was, you know, as if I was in front of a real dinosaur.
It sweat, it drooled, it blinked, it had eye fluid. It was just the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
This is super disgusting. The kids will love this.
We are beneath the table on which rests Blue, and each of these levers controls a different portion of her, from each of her fingers to articulating her wrists, shoulders, elbows, her jaws, her eyes. There's a whole team of dudes down here. Hey, guys.
What's up? And 3, 2, 1, and that's it. Go, go.
It's amazing where technology and then this very ancient art of puppetry come together and you get a velociraptor.
No.
Can you feel that? Yeah.
Okay, here we go. And action.
We have our T-Rex that can be puppeteered from below and from the back. And so those scenes were built specifically to be able to use animatronics in a way that we couldn't in the first Jurassic World.
The star of the first 4 Jurassic movies right here. It's really nice when you meet an icon, someone you grew up
This helps.
loving, you get an opportunity to work with them. It's really a dream come true.
We knew that Bryce had to climb on board, and it weighs tons, and it has a huge amount of power and aggression, and so we also don't want to injure her. So there is a soft section in the middle of the neck, which is designed almost like a sort of saddle. There are grab handles that are hidden, so she can hold the T-Rex.
Good job. You're making this look totally normal.
So there's about 8 puppeteers. There's a person at the back that does the lifting of the entire body. There's a person, or 2, which operate the main neck. The head is controlled through a radio control system. There's another puppeteer who's looking after the eyes, the eye blinks. Another one that's looking after the breathing and the nostrils. And then one other person who's looking after the jaw. We wanted to get the feeling that she was snoring away and dribbling, so this floor became rather treacherous as the day went on. We mixed up a mixture of clear and white slime, which is pretty awful.
Fantastic, and that was great.
I've been able to ride on the back of a T-Rex. Ride on the back of a T-Rex. Can you imagine how my children reacted when I told them that? I was like, you cannot tell anybody. You cannot tell a soul. But I'm riding on the back of a T-Rex, and their eyes like just about popped out of their head.
I'm on a T-Rex. No big deal. Just, you know, riding on a T-Rex.
The T-Rex is never going to lose its bite. That would be impossible.
Oh, I love coming on the set and having a real dinosaur there. You feel like a kid when you come on and there's a real dinosaur.
We had the animatronics, we had the CGI. The secret was to merge both technologies, to cheat the eye of the audience so they don't know if what they're watching is real or not.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. And then
3, 2, 1, action!
Did you see that?
H for Echo, take 3.
Mark.
We are in the basement of the Lockwood estate, and it's the lab. They've got the DNA samples over there, and then they've got skeleton-y stuff, X-ray things over there. It's scary.
In the basement of this house, Dr. Wu and John Hammond cloned the first baby elephants and then moved on to dinosaurs.
See this massive, grand lab, and then you turn around a corner and there's this very ominous, isolated cage that has the Indoraptor in it.
The Indoraptor, it's the perfect weapon. And it's the most dangerous dinosaur we've had in any other movie.
It's a dinosaur, but it's really a monster.
The Indoraptor is not a majestic creature. It's a homicidal maniac.
I was kind of scared because you turn around and it's like here on your face, and it's like full talons and everything, and so it's kind of scary.
This is the claw of the Indoraptor, and it's quite heavy.
Our role at the Indo is to take the initial design and develop it in the real world.
Clean bill of health. Ooh, there we go.
To take the Indoraptor and look at that as a further genetic experiment is a really exciting possibility. And the idea that this is not necessarily 100% successful. We're seeing degrading of skin or flaking of scales.
We're doing an insert head and neck and a hand and a leg, which have to interact with actors.
The Indoraptor is puppeteered by 4 or 5 puppeteers.
We have a guy on the jaw and a guy on the nostrils and lots of different parts of the eye.
We've got a beautiful movement around the outside of the eye, and we've also got a fully rotational eye here as well, a bit like a crocodile. Go. Down.
What I'm operating is the jaw mechanism here, so as I swing this lever forwards, we get the sort of full range of motion and then back to close.
When the mouth is closed, there's a fantastic pattern to those teeth.
So this rig was created specifically to provide something more of an eye line and something that you can actually perform on set so that the actors don't have to look at balls on sticks. And it also gives you the actual scale of the creature on set.
It's getting a great response from the actors because it gives them a chance to respond to something in the moment.
That is cool.
We worked with the effects supervisor from ILM to develop the little idiosyncrasies to provide a good basis for his animation.
If I was Dr. Henry Wu and I made the Indoraptor, I'd be very proud of myself.
It's awesome to be in a fight with two dudes who could definitely beat your ass in real life, but who are paid to lose to you. Here we are on Dancing with the Stars, choreographing our battle scene dance. Really hoping America calls in and votes us to be the #1 dance couple.
This is more physical than the first movie for me. They've taken the action hero element that worked in the first movie and expanded on that.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome. We'd like to offer you a special treat.
The auction sequence begins as just this scary moment in which the dinosaurs that you've known and loved are going to be sold off.
Sold!
Which, of course, goes wrong, because when did holding a dinosaur auction in your house ever go right?
The Stygimoloch, it's like a funny dinosaur, so it's not scary.
From the very first moment, I realized the potential of the Stygimoloch. He breaks everything. I mean, he doesn't stop. There's a moment that you can see just people flying and flying.
So this is our one and only big fight on a Jurassic movie. So this is Chris coming in, seeing the Stygimoloch doing its rampage in here. The first thing he sees is one of the guards about to take out the Stiggy, so he sneaks up behind him. And then we're into this kind of big punch-up where he takes out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys.
Hey, this is fun! Just because you have tattoos on your head doesn't mean you're a mercenary, okay? We're not mercenaryists.
Hopefully there's a sense of irreverence, but also it has the thread of an action movie going through it. Just so cool.
You get into a fight in a room with a load of dinosaurs, get to beat up a load of guys. It doesn't get any more action than that, does it? This is Jurassic pumped up.
Make it count.
3, 2, 1, action!
I don't know the official number. I think it's around 4,000. I think I just beat up 4,000 guys. I left my own path of destruction.
I I think that the more important is the bad guy, the better should be the scene where they die. And we enjoy a lot designing those deaths.
What we're doing now is a dinosaur is ripping my arm off and eating it. That's why I've got the green sleeve on. It makes the arm disappear. Looks like they can make it look like I have no arm. Kind of doing a switcheroo. We're using Ray's actual arm on the other side. We're doing a really basic sort of theater trick here.
Ted drops, but my arm remains in its mouth. And then obviously you can't see me, but you can see my arm. There's a reason for this.
Here we go. Action. And 3, 2, 1,
One of the beautiful things about this is that they're using a lot of puppets, and these guys are brilliant, so the characters really live. It's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of puppetry.
What a good girl. Oh, she's a good girl. Yes, a good girl.
You can tell by the performance of Ted Levine that when he's dying and he has the Indoraptor in front of him, you can tell that he had something real.
So guys, there is fire in the hole. We are firing blanks to make sure everyone has ear protection.
Oh, look what I found in my ears. Little chunks of potato. Am I speaking loudly right now? I got in earplugs because I'm about to shoot this gun at that dinosaur's face.
So once you have the gun, Chris, you can just put a little pre-frame here.
The first time I thought about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I thought about what was my first reaction watching the very first Jurassic Park.
Turn the light off!
And I remember the fear of being in front of a T-Rex. And the suspense of the kitchen scene with the velociraptors. And Colin was wanting to have a bigger sense of suspense in Fallen Kingdom.
The whole movie was building to a Monster in a House movie. And we had a vision of a little girl in her bed with the covers pulled up tight with the little kind of starry lights that your kids have in their bedroom.
When this idea of doing this like feral creature came, and make this the villain creature of the story, the monster, the first reference for J.A. was Dracula.
When I was a kid, one scene that provoked nightmares for months was Frank Langella playing Dracula in John Badham's version. And I remember Frank Langella crawling down and sneaking in through the window, upside down. From the moment I read that on the script, the Indoraptor is sneaking in through Macy's window, I thought it was the same idea, and I wanted to bring back that fear that I had. That scene is a homage to John Badham and that version of Dracula.
Action.
I love making movies.
He's crawling up the bed!
It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, if not my favorite. That simplicity of a scared little child and a vicious dinosaur in a tight, confined space, I think is incredible.
And we had that amazing fight that Blue has with the Indoraptor in Macy's room. Kids always play with dinosaurs, mostly in their bedrooms. So I thought, how cool would it be to bring that game to reality? So you turn the toys into real dinosaurs, and you turn that fantasy into a real dinosaur fight.
3, 2, 1, hit!
So guys, we're gonna shoot one.
Since the first movie, Jurassic World, came out, and, you know, just so blessed it was such a big hit. The best part has been able to ask for really weird things in my contract, so every set, I have to have a wooden horse that I can play with in between takes. Really keeps my mind off things, keeps me in character.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, let's get Chris on his horse. Thank you.
Jay and Colin, they thought, let's go for the classic. Let's go to the rooftop. Let's make this almost Western-like confrontation at the very end.
To me, it felt the only way to really surprise people. Instead of trying to go bigger, now we have 6 dinosaurs fighting. It just seems like the way to do it is to go smaller and more intense and just a little deeper.
It will be a bit like Hitchcock's Vertigo, but with a monster. So that should be pretty cool.
The rooftop sequence we were drawing in so many different versions before we had a set absolutely established. JA would want to see something, so then the set would have to change to be able to make this idea work.
You need to have everything very well prepared, but sometimes it could look like rigid if you get a stick too much to the previs or the boards. I think the shooting is something alive. And you have great people all the time around you. You have the actors, you have all the team, and you try to make it better.
I rehearsed for the big stunt, which is Maisie sliding down a massive glass roof. This morning, we practiced actually on the set, where Maisie's climbing along the roof and the Indoraptor smashes out of her window.
I'm gonna be really scared, and you're gonna be like, come on, Owen. Here we go.
And action!
Come on!
Just working with Izzy, who's earned the name The Kid Rock because she does all her own stunts.
Hello. It's quite fun.
Yeah, fine. You good? Yeah. This way!
We're on top of a roof, and there's rain, and harnesses, and dinosaurs, and lasers, and I mean, what more could you want?
A little wet, cold, and beat up, but still happy. Okay? Still happy.
You're doing that, so at least we'll be like, bang, 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 bang.
So I'll just bang and you just tell me when to stop.
Bang, 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 bang. You can imagine how complex it was to shoot the fight between Blue and the Indoraptor because it was such a small place.
Since you're up there, you can come back down into whatever piece you want of him smashing into the glass and the glass breaking.
Yeah. And you need to deal with all the visual effects and the action.
3, 2, 1,
But everyone was so prepared, so ready. Everything went perfect.
You're implying that a group composed entirely of female animals will breed?
No, I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
Honestly, the best thing about this movie for me is the fact that Jeff Goldblum is in the film.
The best thing?
Well, maybe it's the dialogue from the first movie.
If I was given that dialogue, I think I could do the same thing. That's all I'm saying. Life finds a way. Did that do it for you?
No.
In the last century, we amassed a landmark technological power, and we've consistently proven ourselves incapable of handling that power.
One of the things the Jurassic movies have always been about is the theme of uncontrolled science. And the person who was the best analyst of that was Ian Malcolm.
He embodies the spirit of Michael Crichton. He's in the original book, and he is sort of the voice of reason.
We altered the course of natural history. This is a correction.
I'm really happy that Jeff Goldblum is back with us in a way that really brings science and ethics and morality together.
Here I am talking about dinosaurs again. It feels like I never left.
It was so exciting for everyone involved in the making of the movie and for everyone who loves Jurassic movies. And it was great to see him again after 20 years playing Ian Malcolm. From the very beginning, from the very first take, you can tell that he was Ian Malcolm again. That was something to see.
Are you suggesting that the Almighty is taking matters in his own hands?
Senator, with all due respect, God's not part of the equation. I like this character. And so I'm enjoying myself no end, you know. It's a precious little privilege. And I've only got a day here, but I've enjoyed myself. And J.A. Has been fantastic at articulating the issues in the movie and maybe by my character of the misuse of science and bad ethics and all of that. We've convinced ourselves that sudden change is something that happens outside the normal order of things, like a car crash, or that's beyond our control.
A lot of the dialogue that he has in the Senate hearing is from Michael Crichton. It's from the book, Jurassic Park. And it's amazing how many ideas that apply to this movie are in the original book.
We don't conceive of sudden, radical, irrational change as woven into the very fabric of existence. Yet I can assure you it most assuredly is.
Jeff Goldblum, not gonna lie, that's pretty awesome.
So great to see you. Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
See you.
All right, well, just hanging out with Jeff Goldblum. No big deal.
Welcome to Jurassic World.
Cut there.
In a Jurassic movie, it's so important, the level of reality in recreating those dinosaurs. They need to feel 100% real. I think the secret behind the work that we did in Fallen Kingdom was to merge both technologies, to cheat the eye of the audience so there is a moment that they don't know if what they're watching is real or not.
We've taken J.A.'s vision for what he really wanted to bring to the franchise. He felt like the dinosaurs needed to be more individual. So we brought a lot more detail and markings and color into the dinosaurs to try and imbue a sense of character. They have a lot more personality than they did before.
We have a lot of ideas about how the original dinosaurs look. There are obviously contrasting and conflicting ideas, but we've got something very firm to base the designs on.
You have to look at the other films because they've established a way that these dinosaurs move. But at the same time, the technology we have now has enabled us to introduce muscle sims and skin simulations. So it's partially about being correct anatomically, but it's also about trying to get the right character into these animals and how they might react in different situations. All right. Blue is obviously an incredibly important aspect of the film. We learn a little bit more about how Owen raised her, and you can understand the emotional bond that they have now.
We looked at a lot of reference footage of baby ostriches and baby emus.
And then puppies especially, just trying to get that fun, inquisitive feeling when puppies are confused by something they haven't seen before and they'll really twist their head in that sort of cute, fun way. It was really trying to incorporate that into Baby Blue.
It was important to show that from the time that she's born, Owen is constantly recognizing that she's a special raptor that has a kinship to him as a human.
Yeah.
And then I feel like that's the opportunity to get in camera.
Yeah. We had a great relationship with Neil Scanlon and his animatronic team, who made some of the best animatronics I've ever seen. What has been fun in post-production is where JA's wanted the animatronic just to do something a little bit different. So with the Blue operation scene, we enhanced certain elements of the animatronic.
We might, for example, just replace the tail in one shot, or in another shot, we would just replace one of Blue's claws.
It was always quite enjoyable playing CG versus animatronic guessing game with JA.
Not even myself, when I was doing the reviews of visual effects, I knew what I was watching, if that was real or not. And that is the goal. When you create something that looks 100% real and you cannot tell if it's animatronic or CGI.
The Sinoceratops finds Owen unconscious in the jungle and almost out of a motherly instinct wants to save him.
This character, which I love, she's supposed to be very motherly, very kind, but tough at the same time. So she should have this tough look, but she should be like an old wise lady as well.
And there's this extreme close-up of the tongue coming out of the mouth and then licking the face. It's hard to watch that every day and dailies over and over and over again.
There was an onset tongue, quite large, quite gooey, and our effects team did an amazing job of bringing the tongue to life.
The Indoraptor, obviously, taking elements of dinosaurs we know were real, such as velociraptors, and dinosaurs that were already genetic, such as the Indominus Rex on the last film, and inventing a new dinosaur from scratch was incredibly exciting.
A lot of it came from early animation tests, seeing what looked scary, and then conversations with Jay about trying to find that personality for Indoraptor.
JA started to bring references from Nosferatu, very specifically the front teeth and the long claws are definitely referencing the Nosferatu character. And then the next step for designing the creature was the movement and what's he going to do that's slightly different to other dinosaurs.
I had found reference footage of a crocodile bellowing, and they'll vibrate their throats. And it was such a cool move and gives such a sense of presence to the animal.
Here's a few tests of the Indoraptor walking, and this just lets us test drive the asset under motion before we take it into shot production.
JA also introduced a very interesting concept, which is that this dinosaur is not a finished product. So there's all sorts of imperfections that were pretty exciting to bring to life. He has all sorts of facial tics.
It was an interesting challenge trying to figure out how to portray involuntary twitches and tics, where the head would sort of twitch in an odd, uncomfortable way, and the shoulders would twitch in sort of a strange way, and just creating this sort of uncomfortableness when you were watching the character on screen.
There's a shot in the film where Maisie and the Indoraptor's faces are sort of merged as one.
There's a symbiosis between the two, and that shot seals that concept. It was a JA concept for sure.
The Indoraptor fighting Blue was always very specifically in Maisie's bedroom.
JA had a very clear idea that he wanted it to feel like a real bar brawl.
And they just trashed this bedroom. So they filmed the room clean as it was, and the room completely destroyed. And then our job primarily was about doing all the interaction between the dinosaurs and replacing it with the CG assets. So we ended up modeling just an enormous amount of assets, sofas, cushions, tons and tons of toys. We had a few Easter eggs, like we had a little ET toy. We did all sorts of bookshelves and dynamic books. We modeled just tons and tons of assets that all got destroyed.
It was decided that Blue really should come and save the day one last time. And the final moment with the Indoraptor and Blue falling through the roof has been always a very iconic, almost religious moment with beautiful moonlight behind and glass falling around them. And it felt appropriate, I think, as we prevised it, that this started to become a slow motion shot just to really hold on it. You really want to enjoy that moment of them falling.